Remember when the Spurs listed Tim Duncan as DNP, old? Well, what if a player was listed as DNP, fat? In fact, what would you say if I told you there existed a player whose weight problems were so out of control that he was suspended for an entire year for being too fat? Eddie Curry and Oliver Miller are well remembered for having flirted with 400 pounds at varying points in their careers. Charles Barkley once told his GM in a pre-draft meeting, "I am in shape. Round is a shape." Pre-draft Zion Williamson was heavier than every active NBA player besides Boban Marjanovic. But none of them had anything on John Hotplate Williams. Stepping stones from going from Eddie Curry to Oliver Miller to Zion to Boban to John Hotplate Williams. Not to be confused with the more famous John Hot Rod Williams, who's also not to be confused with famous composer John Star Wars Williams. Hotplate first reached relevance in 1984 as a freshman in college, when he derisively nicknamed the Louisiana Purchase in a recruiting scandal. Arguably the top high schooler in the country at the time, Hotplate was the All-American Game MVP and became the first player to win consecutive California Mr. Basketballs since a young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was quite a shock to many when he signed with LSU, who he'd apparently never heard of before his recruitment started. Rumors quickly swirled that the Tigers, which were already in hot water with another scandal, paid Williams serious money to sign. Figures as high as $150,000 were thrown out. Don't worry, that didn't actually happen though. But only because they never paid up. To quote Mama Hotplate, "They're all liars. LSU promised me $150,000, then they promised me a Cadillac, but they didn't deliver. They got me a job, but then they wanted me to actually go to work." Yikes, for so many reasons. After 2 years and a trip to the Final Four, it was off to the NBA, where Williams quickly showed promise, but earned the iconic Hotplate nickname even quicker. He also heard Hot Lunch, Meals on Wheels, and I'll take seconds. But the one that stuck was Hotplate. He came into the league at 6'8", 235 pounds, but that didn't last long. By the time Williams reported to Washington Bullets training camp as a rookie, he had ballooned to 260 pounds, 25 more than his final college game. This was a sign of things to come, but it wasn't all bad. His game would evoke a comparison to a young Andre Iguodala, but with the size of Paul Millsap. He made an immediate impact as a rookie off the Bullets bench. He proved to be one of the few players able to play all 5 positions on the floor and was utilized primarily as a point forward. Sound familiar? He kept improving as a player and became a candidate for 6th Man of the Year, earning himself a 6-year contract that made him the second highest paid player in the team, trailing only Hall of Famer Bernard King. He even got respect from Mark Jackson, who said, "He's the most talented big man I've ever played with." Reminder, Jackson played with Patrick Ewing. And most importantly, Hotplate kept his weight somewhat under control. It's true that he never once met his preseason weight goals, but he also never allowed himself to go above 270 until the injuries. When a starting spot opened up for him in the fall of 1989, he took advantage. He had 24-11 in the season opener and didn't stop there, averaging career highs in every category with great defense to go along with it. But just 18 games into the season, he tore his MCL and partially tore his ACL. Hotplate's season was over. Without basketball, he turned to binge eating. And after his father had a stroke, he stopped reporting to his injury rehab workouts entirely. By the time he recovered from his injury, Williams was over 280 pounds. The team had an idea. Give him a $200,000 bonus every time he met his weight goal. They put it in his contract, but he never met it. Not even once. Hotplate did work his way back to top form, averaging almost 20 points over the course of the last 14 games that year. But by the next year's start, he weighed in at 302 pounds. This seems like a good time to remind you that his primary position was small forward, a 300-plus pound small forward. In 1991, the team publicly announced he would be suspended, without pay, until he got his weight below 260. That day never came. Hotplate demanded a trade, but they refused, theorizing that humiliating him into getting into shape could work. By the end of the year, the closest he got was 272. He was finally traded that summer to the Clippers after his agent threatened to sue the team. But it was too late. After just 51 games played in just 3 years, and still way overweight, Hotplate was a shell of his former self. Back up to 296 pounds, he'd set foot on an NBA floor for the last time in 1995, at just 28 years of age. During a time in NBA history largely plagued by drugs and violence, John Williams, once a promising young player with all-star potential, was chased out of the league by perhaps the most worthy foe of all, hamburgers and fried chicken.
Oh my God! Hold on.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm Frank Smith. You can follow me at FMS_Frank Smith and follow ClutchPoints at ClutchPoints. Check out all of our videos on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram TV. In the comments for this one, I want you to let me know if you were in the NBA, which food would give you weight problems. For me, it's simple, ice cream. More specifically, Rita's ice cream. Thank you guys. Until next time.